So welcome to Badass Soul Session number 17. And today I want to talk about alignment, because the more you come into alignment, the more doors open, the more aligned things get to you. And so you start vibrating at this higher frequency and getting into more alignment, and amazing things begin to happen. And so the best way for me to teach is to share with you some of the things that have been going on in my own life, and hopefully then that will convert to some things that are happening with you all. And in terms of alignment. Hey Mondi, hey Margie. So in the fall, I guess, the late fall, I really started thinking more and doing more around alignment in my own life. And then since the beginning of this year, I've been going full force. So for those of you who have been watching me or listening to me since January, basically, I have been telling you that I've been spending at least 3 to 4 hours every single day kind of coming into alignment, doing practices every single day that bring me into alignment. That means like really looking at my shit, really looking at anything that I am like stuck on, any limiting beliefs I have, and I am working through those limiting beliefs and shedding the stories that I have been hanging on to for a really long time, and spending time noticing where in my body things feel stuck, like which chakra things feel stuck. And so I'm spending 3 to 4 hours every day doing this, pretty much 5 to 7 days a week. I sometimes take one day off. And that isn't to say that that's what everybody's path is, but that has been what my path has been since January. And the more that I have been coming into alignment, the more that I've been putting more energy and effort on that, the more doors and the more like magical, amazing things have been happening. And so I want to kind of talk about what's been happening since January. So hey Jean. So at the beginning of January, when I really started stepping into this work, I got on here and I told you all that what had been coming to me is that I really wanted to do retreats, because that is what was calling my soul. That felt like part of what my mission was to bring women together in a group and just amplify the field. Having women come together who are wanting to increase their spiritual superpowers, who are wanting to really start digging in and shedding the limiting beliefs they have and really start listening to their intuition and inner voice. And not just listening to your intuition and inner voice when things are great and you have space and you have time to make a decision, but listening to it all the time and knowing that you have access to that, even when the shit is going down, even when you are feeling really challenged in your life. How do you create the opening and the expansion to still listen to that voice, to get out of the head, to get out of your crazy ego mind and get into your body and start listening to your intuition, even when things in your life are really challenging? And that's really what this retreat is about. And it ended up landing on Mother's Day weekend. And I know that it landed on that weekend because it is going to be about mothering yourself. Because the relationship that you have with yourself has to be the number one relationship in your life. You have to have so much self-love and so much freaking mothering for yourself that is what gives you the opportunity and the expansion to be able to do your missions, to be able to have the impact, and to be able to go out in the world and do the things that are calling you, to have the space and the energy to do that. And if we keep getting depleted and we don't mother ourselves, then we don't have the space or the room to even hear the inner voice. And so in January, when I started doing this work, the first thing that happened was I decided that I wanted to do this retreat. And all of my mentors and all of my coaches told me that the retreat should be in Colorado, that I should do it locally. And there was something inside of me that felt resistance. I run retreats every month in Colorado with the horses and with women with breast cancer, but this retreat is a little bit different. This is focusing more on really deepening into your inner voice and really building your multi-dimensional team and figuring out how to listen to your guides and to hear those all of the time. And so there was some resistance that I was having to doing it in Colorado, and I started looking at places around Colorado, and I kept running into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And so finally I just decided to listen to what I'm telling you all and to listen to my guides and to my inner voice. And what kept coming through was Sedona. Go to Sedona, go to Sedona. And I have only been to Sedona, honestly, once in my whole life. And if any of you follow me or know me, you know I have an affinity for the desert in general. I love the desert. I know I had past lives in the desert. It is the place that I go on spiritual retreats with myself because there's just some energetic piece for me about going to the desert. So it was not really that surprising that I kept hearing Sedona. And so I got online and I started looking for places in Sedona to host the retreat. And I had a really clear vision of what I wanted. I wanted the food to be supplied. I wanted somebody cooking for us. I wanted it to be a retreat center where there was lots of land to walk around and lots of space. And so I had that clear picture. And so my assumption with Sedona, because you hear about Sedona and the spiritual aspect of Sedona all the time, was that there was going to be like tons of retreat centers there. And what I came to find out when I got online is there are very few retreat centers in Sedona, that there are tons of houses like Airbnbs that you can rent, but then you have to find the chef and get the food, and there's a lot more that is entailed in doing that. And oftentimes there's not a lot of land around. It's just like a house. And you have to maybe travel if you want to go do things in nature. And I didn't want that. I wanted to be on a piece of land where we could sink into the land and really get connected to the living beings and the unseen beings that are on that land. And so I found one place, one retreat center, and I called them, and they only took groups that are really huge groups. And so that wasn't for me, but I asked the man on the phone if he knew of anybody else, and he said, I have this feeling that you should call Michael at Angel Valley. And so I called Michael at Angel Valley, and I got on and I looked at their site, and he is amazing. And first of all, I love that his name is Michael. I don't think that's an accident, because Archangel Michael has been one of my main guides lately. And so not only is the owner of the property and the keeper of the land's name Michael, but that land in general is surrounded by archangels. It was developed because Michael was told to develop it because the angels told him to. And so there's even a mountain on their property that is named after Archangel Michael. So I get chills still just thinking about this story because it's so cool. So as I was talking to Michael, I wanted to have it in the spring because I wanted it to be relatively warm down there, but I didn't want it to be hot, and I didn't want to have it in the winter. And so there was only a couple dates that he had available, and only one of those dates worked for me. And that was the Mother's Day weekend, which has turned into this amazing theme that is going to be streamed through the whole retreat around mothering yourself and giving this gift to yourself of stepping out of your life and into retreat for a few days so that you get to fill yourself up and mother yourself so that you get to come home 100 times more amplified and ready to give to the world than you did when you left. And so that night when I was talking to Michael, he told me the dates and he said, just hold on. He's like, I don't want you to decide right now. He said, I actually want you to take a couple of days, and I want you to sit in meditation, and I want you to connect with your guides and ask your guides, is this the right place for you to have your retreat? And first of all, the fact that he offered that and said that that was something that I should do, first of all, I knew that that was probably a good resonant place for me and the people who I want to bring there. But I took those couple of days and I spent some time in meditation. I spent some time connecting to my guides, and I got a hell yes. That is absolutely the place that you are supposed to be having your retreat. And so that was the first piece that happened. So all of the dates aligned, the place aligned, it literally fell in my lap. I did no research. It had all of the things that I wanted. It provided food. It was on this amazing piece of land where there's lots of space to hike and swim and be in nature and do yoga and meditation and connect to all of the angels that are on that land. And then the second piece that happened was a few months later, I was invited to go to a dinner with just 5 other people that was intended to be a dinner that was really a combination of people who were kind of in the spiritual community, and to sit in meditation together and just to see what wanted to arise out of this group of people that were coming together. What was something that we could do to impact the world by coming together and sitting in meditation with one another and just seeing what wanted to be created. And so I went to this dinner, and one of the first people, I only knew a couple people there, but one of the people that I met there was Tracy. And I'd never met Tracy before, but we had a number of people in common. And one of the things that I personally have been wanting to do for a while for myself is more work with shamanic journeying and more ways to connect with my guides in an even deeper way than I am right now. And so that had been kind of in my awareness that was possibly something that I wanted to include in my retreat, but I didn't know what that was going to look like or how that was going to happen, or even if it was going to happen for this particular retreat. And so I met Tracy. We sat in meditation together that night. And then maybe a couple weeks later, the end of February, we met with the horses just to learn about each other's gifts, to have some time together just to hear what each other's gifts were. And during the time that I was with her, we were standing out in the middle of the horses, and 2 things happened. One, she had a vision during the meditation of this big black horse walking into the circle. And Jade, who is one of my kind of physical beings on the planet that is a guide for me, who's a gigantic black horse, did come into the circle to me that night and told me that whatever we do as a group, the horses wanted to be included. And she had seen that same horse come into the circle. So she is an extremely, extremely intuitive person who has amazing gifts as a shamanic practitioner and has been doing that work for a long time and has studied with Sandra Engelman and is so good at what she does and so intuitive, so connected to the unseen, and I'm so excited that she is going to be joining us. But as we were standing out with the horses, I kept hearing, just ask, just ask, just ask, and I'm like, just ask, just ask. And all of a sudden the light bulb went on, and I'm like, I am supposed to ask her to come co-facilitate with me in Sedona. And so I asked her to join me, and she had just planned a trip to Glenwood Springs. And so she said, you're gonna have to give me a couple days. I need to see if I can rearrange my trip. And she's a new mom. She has a 6-month-old baby. And so I gave her a couple days, but when she called me back, she said, I just remembered that my guides had told me that if I was offered anything, if I was invited to do anything in February, this was on February 25th that we met, if I was invited to do anything this month, that I should accept any offers that I am given. And so she rearranged her trip, and she will be joining us. Sorry, I got sidetracked by Mondi. I'm currently taking Sandra Engelman. That's so awesome. She's amazing. So she will be joining us on the retreat as well. She's a shamanic practitioner as well as a functional medicine nurse practitioner. So she is very gifted healer in general, and I'm so excited to have her. I'll try to bring her on here too so that you can meet her. Mondi, I'm so excited that you're coming. So the point being in all of this is that the more you stay in this high frequency place, and I don't mean that low frequency isn't going to come in, because I have shitty days every few days, right? Like shitty things still happen, and I still like fall into an old limiting belief or an old story that I've had. but I am catching it quicker. I am getting out of it faster, and I am staying in alignment more often for longer periods of times, and I'm being able to shift back faster and faster and faster. And the faster that I'm able to start shifting back and staying in that frequency, the more doors are opening, and just crazy, like the more magical things are happening every single day. And the more awareness I have of all that is happening, right? Jean, I'm having a shitty day right now. I'm so sorry to hear that. I would love, feel free to call me and I will be happy to connect with you, but we are going to have shitty days. That is the point. Like we are all gonna have crappy days, even if we are like spending a lot of time in the higher frequencies. We're gonna have something challenging happen in our life, or we're gonna have a bad day, or something bad is our car is gonna break down, and 5 other things are gonna happen in one day, and you're gonna be like, what the fuck? But if you start getting good at like tracking what is happening in your life and how you are participating in that and how you are calling that in, because we are constantly co-creating, the faster you're going to be able to shift back into alignment and back into the higher frequencies. Oh, good. I'm glad, Jean. So, alignment. It keeps coming back to this foundation of, sorry about that, my phone rang through. It keeps coming back to this foundation of alignment, and how do we keep coming back into that? Because the more we can be there, the more connected we are with our intuition and with our inner voice. When we are up in our crazy headspace, it is very challenging to hear the inner voice. It has to be an intentional drop from the head down into the heart. But that voice is there all of the time. It never takes a break. It never goes on vacation. It doesn't have office hours. You can access that inner voice, that deep knowing, anytime you want. And you have more access to it than you think. You have more access to your guides than you think. We think that only people who are psychic or clairvoyant or have some special gift have access to this, and that is absolutely false. We all are hearing and seeing all of the time, but we need to develop those things in order to hear them more, especially if it's not just a natural talent or a natural gift that we have. But the more during your day that you spend coming back into alignment and finding that vertical core within yourself where you are really connected to your heart and your gut, the more access you're going to have to that inner voice and to the things that you know that you are supposed to be in that place of joy and peace and calm more times than you're in that place of feeling shitty. That is not why we are here on this planet. We are here on this planet to be bright lights and to be creative and to be connected. And when we are in that place, we are not. So this retreat and all of the things that have been happening that are leading up to it, and I'm just like waiting to see what else comes to us in the next month and a half or so before the retreat, but it is going to be so special. So if you have questions about the retreat, about any of the specifics, about anything, please give me a call, because it is so inexpensive. It's $12.99 for 4 days of total bliss. And Tracy and I, between the two of us, you're going to have some amazing experiences doing work with shamanic journeying. We are going to do a shamanic journey, hopefully in the water in Oak Creek. There is healing water on the property, which is amazing. Dr. Emoto, one of the first blogs I ever did was about Dr. Emoto and his work and how we are mostly made up of water. And so what we say and what we think about impacts literally how we are made up inside of our bodies. And Dr. Emoto actually went to Angel Valley and tested their wells. They have 4 different wells, healing wells on their property. And if you go to their website, you can even see Dr. Emoto's team took pictures under a microscope of their water. And they are beautiful snowflake looking water. So if you know, if it's healing water, it's very symmetrical. It's these really beautiful shapes. And so go check it out. But each well has a different healing essence to it. So we are going to be drinking out of those wells, which is going to serve to heal you physically and emotionally as well, not just being with us. So really, really cool place that we are having it. So $12.99 for the whole time. It's $4.49 if you want to break it up into 3 monthly payments at this point. We have actually increased the size of it since there are 2 of us now holding space. We will now take 20 people, and about a quarter of those are filled up right now. So if you have any questions specifically about the retreat, let me know. We are doing Art of Feminine Presence practices. It's about stepping into your feminine power, but also balancing that out with the masculine. We're doing shamanic journey work where we'll do meditation and yoga each morning. There will be hiking and swimming and being up on, Archangel Michael's mountain and do a meditation up there, hopefully. So we will have some really cool stuff happening. So if you have any questions about the retreat, please let me know. It is a really special gift to give to yourself, especially on the weekend of Mother's Day. Even whether you are a mother or not a mother, you are. We are all our own mother of taking care of ourselves and nurturing ourselves. So I hope that you all have an amazing Tuesday, and let me know if you have any questions. But otherwise, I will see y'all next week. Take care.